Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, it's not morning. This is another day that it's afternoon. And that's because we had to get up earlier than usual. Well, maybe not earlier than usual, but we had to leave earlier than usual because we both had doctor's appointments. Yeah, you know, that yearly physical thing. Yeah, kind of had to go do that. But it was kind of funny because my husband woke up sick today. I shouldn't say that's funny, should I? No, that's not funny. That's awful. But what he said to me was funny. He says to me, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't go because I'm sick. No, I think that's probably when you need to go to the doctor. Yeah, wrap your head around that one. Anyways, yeah, gotta love him. Got back from that, and you know, my husband isn't feeling good when he calls in sick because I think you could count on his one hand all the times that he has called in sick since he's been working there for nearly 20 years. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to tell you about was yesterday when we got out of church, and we had a wonderful day at church yesterday. There was a package on our car again. And this time the package said that it was an arm roast. And I looked at my husband and I said, what's an arm roast? Well, luckily for us, we had made arrangements to go to my son Bruce and his wife Annette's house because they only live like 35 minutes from the church, and spend the afternoon with him. And yeah, he's a meat cutter by trade. So I took this in and I said, okay, can you please tell me what this is? And he asked me if it was a beef or if it was pork, and I said I have no clue. So he opened it up and he said, oh, this is definitely beef, and he told me how to make it. So yeah, I tell you, good thing that I have a son that knows all about meats, because yeah, I had no clue. Totally clueless. What can I say? The other thing that I got yesterday was from a beautiful young lady named Violet, and she got a soap making kit for Christmas, and she made me this beautiful little soap. And it has this little flower on it. Isn't that cute? And it smells divine. And I thought that was really sweet. She came up and she gave me that, and she gave me also a little, this must be more like a little glycerin soap. It's a little seashell is what it is. And then she gave me some stickers, and I just thought that was really sweet. So yeah, we had a really good day, and I was just really pleased. But anyways, I hope that you will want to stick around for a little portion of my day. I will talk to all of you in just a little while. What I decided to do was I was going to make that arm roast, and I was going to be able to make 2 meals out of it, because my son told me that it needed to be cooked in a minimum of 1 cup of water. If I wanted to add a bouillon cube, I could, and to cook it slow and low until it's nice and tender, because it's a bit of a tougher piece of meat usually. But what I decided to do was kind of like, I don't know what they say, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And that is, I was going to take my roast, because there's a nice bone in the center with marrow, along with some bones that I was going to use to make some bone broth. But I don't have enough bones for bone broth because I only have 3, and these 3 only add up to 1 pound of bones. But there's some nice, this is a knuckle. These other 2 have the nice marrow in there. So, and yeah, these are frozen, but that's okay because I'm going to cook this on low. I'm just going to let it cook and cook and cook and cook. Then when the roast is done, I will take the roast out, put that bone that's in the roast back in, and I will just let it cook some more to make broth. That way, the meat that I have left over, I can make a nice soup. So what I'm going to add to this broth, or to this water, I have 2 quarts of water in here, is I'm going to add a bay leaf, actually 2, because they were kind of small. And yeah, never did replace those onions that I used, so I'm going to be using a cup of the Thrive Life onions and 3/4 of a cup of the Thrive Life celery. Then I'm going to use, this is probably more like a 1/2 cup of dehydrated zucchini. Yeah, I couldn't get that word out of my mouth. And about 1/3 of a cup of my dehydrated carrots. And oops, did you hear that one fall on the floor? And so I just thought that I would let this cook up and just get nice and flavorful. And should be pretty good, but there's actually one more thing that I want to add, and that is a tablespoon of the organic apple cider vinegar, because this is actually very good for you. And this is one of the things that they recommend you put in bone broth. And even though this technically isn't going to be bone broth, I want to be able to get as much of the nutrition value out of those bones, because all those bones have marrow, and the marrow is what we want. We want to get all that nutrition out of the marrow. So anyways, yeah, I'm just going to let this cook and cook and cook and cook, and you're probably not going to see it because it probably won't be done until tomorrow morning. But anyways, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, all I have to do is put a lid on it and walk away. That's always a good thing, don't you think? Anyways, I'll talk to all of you in just a little while. For today's devotion, we will be reading from Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. You know, a mirror, if I were to point it directly at the sun, the reflection in that mirror would be too brilliant to look at directly. And if I pointed that same mirror at darkness, the mirror would reflect only darkness. The power is in where the mirror is positioned. And the same is true with us. When pointed at him, we can reflect some of God's glory and his brilliance. God's word says that mankind was created in God's image. This means that each of us has the potential to reflect the character and the nature of God. So I would like to propose a question. What if we regarded each person who crossed our path as an image bearer of God? Do you think that would change how we interact with them? Maybe some of us need to take a little time for self-reflection, because we're all mirroring something or someone. Who are you reflecting? Let's be honest. We will often place others on a scale based upon the world's standards. Some will measure up, others don't. But God's word tells us that every person that we meet is made in the image of God. And therefore, we should treat every human being with dignity and honor. When we understand that our lives are gifts from God, then that changes how we live. When we see God's image in others, that changes our response to those around us. Our lives are not our own. We were created to reflect God's image. And with that, I want to remind you Life happens. Let's enjoy it and ask God for a perspective shift. Because when we begin to view ourselves and others through God's eyes, nothing will look the same. God bless, and I will talk to you tomorrow.